Hello everyone, this is Juan Sarmiento and today is Thursday, January the 28th. Today I'm going to do a tutorial. I'm going to show you how to calculate your profits and reward in any trade. You can imagine that if you have a complex trade like this Qualcomm, where I have done a number of changes along the way from the start here back in November, and you see all these changes. How do we account for that and see whether we are making a good profit or not? Particularly over the year. Because I started this in November, it's not going to show it anymore here. However, if you have something like this BBY, which was entered in January, all I have to do is hover over the BBY here in the account statement, look for BBY, and it tells me exactly how much profit I have made on that single trade. But if we go over the year, then it's a little more complicated. So let's start with the easy ones and go to the complex. I'm going to go through all my trades currently here and see how to account for all the changes so that we know, well, did it make sense to do all these rollovers and so on? So at the end, did I have a profit or did I just waste my time? Sometimes you do, but most of the time we make a profit. So let's start with the easy ones. BBY. Well, because BBY was entered in this year and is only the long trade, okay, I haven't done any modifications. All you have to do is come to the under the monitor tab, account statement, and enter here the ticker symbol BBY, and here is your trade. Make sure that you go back a whole number of days. So come over here, here at the top, and say how many days you want to go back. I don't need quite this many, but there are other trades that I do need that. So I don't know, go 30, 60 days at the, and see if you can find the trade. And then right click, okay? Just right click on your mouse and say Analyze Trade. And here it is, okay? Here it is. I just copied it and it appeared here. Now, because it is a single trade, I have not made any modifications. This, meaning my current position, tell me exactly how much money I have made from the opening. And that should coincide with the simulation that I did, the copy trade that I just copied. So I'm going to hide the position and see. Okay, and here you have the profit, $499.46. Revert again, high simulations, $499.46. It's the exact same trade. Okay, easy. You can keep it. You can keep it here for future reference. Okay, if you want to go back to this, or you can actually copy that and put it in an Excel spreadsheet. Just say paste if you want to go back to that at some point. Not important, but it just so you know that that's possible. Next is Microsoft. It's another easy one. Let's go to the monitor tab. And in this case, I have done a little bit of a change. We'll go to that again. So let's go to Target, which is easier, and then we'll come back to the Microsoft. Target. I have done other trades, but this is the current one. The others are closing. So this is the only relevant trade here, okay, which was entered back in the 14th of January. So again, just right click, analyze trade, and there it is, okay? And I have $553 profit. If I hide and show my simulation, it should coincide in terms of profit. There you have it, 554.10. If we hide the position, it highlights the simulated trades, and then it's identical. Okay, let's go back then to that Microsoft trade. Well, in this case, we have the original here, and then we did some modifications here. The first one, Oh, that's an old trade actually. So same as target. We don't need to enter any of that because those are old trades. You can see that's back in June. We don't need to enter that at all. It's the current trade that matters. And this was entered uh, in December the 17th. So when I come here to Microsoft, well, for the year, I have a profit of $701, but for the duration of the trade, maybe different. Okay, P&L for the year actually is $970, 940. This is for the day. Okay, so again, all I need to do is analyze trade and delete everything else. This is the current trade, and Microsoft is rallying strongly and it looks great. Let's take a quick look at the chart. Yeah. By the way, look at this. Is that this triangle ending this diagonal here, the contracting triangle, and it broke out to a new high. Fantastic. So whenever you see this contracting triangles, you're going to have a big move up or down, and in this case was up, and fantastic because it makes sense because the trend before the triangle was up, so this is a correction and then bang. But that's technical analysis, not what we're here for, so let's move on. Okay, so in this case I could make a change here by rolling up my calls, but that's again not for this episode. I will make another episode coming up, okay? So keep track of that. I'm going to publish 2 videos. This is for the accounting only. Okay, let's move on to the medium trades. Medium trades, like meaning in complexity to account for the entire number of variations that we have entered, the rollovers and so on. Let's go to this medium DLTR. Okay, I'm going to delete this, the LTR, and let's show that. Show the positions, show all. Okay, so I think this is quite similar actually. So let's go and look at the monitor tab. Oh, okay, so this did go over the year, you see. We started, the original trade was entered in December the 3rd, a rollover here on the 24th, and then another rollover on the 21st. All you need for this kind of trade is a calculator, or you can use an Excel spreadsheet, but let's do the calculator, okay? You need to clear the memory because we're going to need it, and here you can use this paper to show, paper tape, to see what I'm doing. The first one is the entry is a positive number, and the debit is 31.68, okay? And you see that we have 4 longs and 2 shorts. In reality, this is the minimum common divisor here is 2, okay? In case you wonder, if you say analyze trade, create duplicate, it would show you that it's not going to show me this. I'll be back to that. Let's just, yeah, the minimum common divisor here is 2. That's all you need to know. You can divide 4 by 2, and 2 you can divide by 2, so the minimum common divisor is 2. And then you multiply that times 100, and that gives you 200, which we're going to multiply the price times the number of shares, in which case is 200. Okay, so times 200, and that gives me my original cost, $6,336, and I'm going to save it to memory. The next is 452, and this is a credit. That's the rollover. Okay, so the original price was $4.52, and we're going to multiply that times 200 because the common divisor here is 2 times 100 shares. One option represents 100 shares. So let's multiply that times 200. $904 credit. And we're going to subtract this from the original price. So minus memory, you can recall, and here we reduced it by 9 from 600, whatever it was, to 500 to 5,000, from 6,000 something to 500 something. And finally, this one here is another rollover, and we go 3.92 again times 200, and we subtract this, and this gives us the result. Okay, this is my cost after the original minus the 2 credits. Okay, let's now copy this, analyze trade, and adjust for the rollover. So you can see that I went from December 31st to January and then February. So I'm going to change this to February the 26th, and that's our current trade as it currently stands. To make sure of that, say analyze opposite and deselect your current trade. That should give you a straight line, because that's the current trade, the position. Okay. And now we know that we can divide this number by 200, and that will give us the unitary price, the unit per single share of stock. Okay, so let's divide that by 200. $23.24 is my debit for the entire trade. Okay, times 200 will give me the cost. Times 200 will give me an actual number of dollars. But for the debit here is 23.24. Now you can imagine here that this is wrong. This P&L, since the opening is negative. Why? Because we are not accounting for the rollovers. This does. My trade does account for that. So let's hide positions and select that, and now you know how much money we have made on this trade, $198. Yeah, then you say, okay, what do I want to do with this? I want to keep it or roll it over, whatever, or just close it. If it's a loser, you may as well close it, kind of thing. But right now it's doing fine. Okay, in case you wonder, you can also go to the Monitor tab and copy all the trades to the Analyze tab, and they all should turn out the same gain. Okay, so I'm going to click here and say Analyze Trade, go back, right click again and Analyze Trade, go back and Analyze Trade. So that does what I did with my calculator. Essentially put all the costs and debits here, and now we deselect my trade, and here it is. That's the result. That's the actual trade when you consider all the trades as modified. Then my profit P&L is $292. To confirm then that our trade is correct, our corrected, we say deselect them all and select only, and you see 200 and whatever. It's probably exactly the same thing, but the market is open, so it's moving a little bit. That's the result we wanted. We have $200 profit in that trade. We don't need to keep all of that unless you want to, but I'm going to delete that and keep the consolidated trade only. All right, let's move on. That was the LTR. Now we have Starbucks as one medium difficulty here. Starbucks, let's go back to the Monitor tab. Okay, so we have the Starbucks, then we did here a rollover of the call side only and sell the put, and the other put expire worthless. So we can do that, and then I sold one more call, reducing my long calls to 9. You see that? Okay, so we can, that's pretty easy to guesstimate again. Let's clear that, show the paper. Here, let's clear that. And so how do we do this? Very similar, no big difficulty here. We go first 1684, and what is the minimum common divisor here? 5. So 5 times 100 is 500, and that will give me the total cost. So I'm going to multiply 1684 times 500, $8,420. Okay, so let's clear memory and store it there. Recall just to make sure that it is. That's the cost of the original trade. Now we're going to account for the rollovers. First, the called rollover here is $1.45, 1.45, and we're going to multiply that times 500. Again, the minimum common divisor here is 500 times 500, and that gives me $725 credit. So I'm going to subtract from my memory. Okay, and here's the result. We're going to do the same for this one here. So let's clear that. Okay, clear, and say 1.43. And all I did was sell a put. Okay, times 500. Yet I got $715 less, subtract that, and then memory recall. There we go. So the original was $8,420. We subtracted $725 and then $715. And then we subtract this call here. Okay, the call is only one, so in this case we have 760 times 100, 760, and subtract that, and here's my resulting price. Okay, let's copy that, analyze trade, and of course in this case we have 9 calls, 10 puts long, and then 5 and 5. Okay, and my cost is $62.20. Okay, now you're complaining that you didn't catch that. Okay, all I did was copy this, analyze trade, okay, show all, and I reproduce exactly what I have here. 5 for the February calls, February puts, and February calls. And March are the longs. Okay, and my cost was $6,220. But remember, we need to subtract one call, which we also sold to make my trade less complicated, not to take a profit, more complicated. But now this guy, if I were to buy this, create duplicate, confirm and send, let's say multiple accounts, look, it's only one. Quantity is one lot. This is what that means. So that means that my minimum common divisor is 1. In other words, all the legs, the number of calls and puts on each leg can only be divided by one single number. If that single number is 1. 1 times 100 is 100. So now we divide my number by 100 because there's only one lot and it's 100 shares per call or put. So then that is my actual price per share. Not per share, per option, because if it was per share, it would have to multiply. Okay, so no, it is per share. Times 100 will be the entire cost. Okay, so 62.2. And that's my resulting trade. And so if I deselect that, my P&L here doesn't make any sense. You can't rely on that. You need to make the accounting so you know how much money you have made so far on this trade or lost, and that's $286.88. Okay, that's the accounting. Now we have all my trades are being recorded here. Let's move on to the next one. Is Disney, which is a little harder. Let's go to Disney. Okay, I'm going to delete everything here so there's no cheating. Let's go to the monitor tab. And I have something very similar to the Starbucks. The only difference is I had a roll up here. See that? I sold one of my calls and I bought another call at a higher strike price. So that's a little complicated, isn't it? Because this call, in the end, if you just go to the Analyze tab and Show All, you'll see that I have 5 legs. One of them is my 75 call. And fortunately, it says 7.8. So we can sort of right away say Analyze closing, invert it, and put the price of 780 here. 780. And that is the price. So we can ignore that. And now we have what? 4 legs to account for. The problem is that we would have to subtract the 780. If that looks a little complicated, all you need to do now is export this, all this, and then we can use an Excel spreadsheet to calculate all these prices and the overall price. So for that, click here and say Export to File. And now I'm going to export it as a HTML. You may as well call it by the symbol this, okay? HTML. And I'm putting it into the Genie webinars, okay, so that I can come back to it if I need to. Disney HTML, export that. Save it. Okay, now we can go to an Excel spreadsheet and say File, New. And now Open, File, Open. We're going to open that Disney trade here. And what do we get? We get the entire history for that particular stock, but I'm only interested in the most recent trades. Okay, so for that, search. Look at the top of the spreadsheet, says Search Sheet, and then you enter Trade History. And then it gives me exactly what I had here in my Monitor tab. Now select from the, we don't need the time, we need the spread. Well, let's copy all that. Copy that. Command C, create a new spreadsheet, paste, and now we can, in order to view it better, I'm going to zoom into selection. Great. Okay. And here is my trade. Right here is a trade that 780 that we don't need. You can Command X to get it out of there and paste it here. We have already accounted for it, so we don't need that, okay? We don't need it at all. Let's delete that. And now here, I'm gonna calculate all the credits and debits that we have so far, and then come up with a total price, okay? So that includes the price per share times the quantity of options, in this case -1, so the minus will give me the credit, and times 100. Oh, great, that's a credit of 1,000. Then copy that to the same formula to apply it to all the lines here. And then all I need to do is sum them all up, and that gives me the price total. 5,000 $847. Let's go back to the here. Let's analyze trade. And now we are going to modify. Ignore the one option. Okay, we are only going to focus on the 70 here, 170. So we have 5 calls, March, 6 puts March, and the February we need to change the dates because we did a rollover to February the 19th and 19th. And now becomes active. Now we can unlock it, and now we have the price here. It's no longer 6,653, but 5,847. Why? Because this is, again, the minimum common divisor here for all these numbers is 1. Therefore, we have 1 lot. Then why? Because by doing the roll up of one of the calls, I mixed it all up, okay? Essentially. And I'm going to put the new price here by the Excel spreadsheet is 58.47. That price divided by 100 gives me the result that I'm looking for. Okay? Again, if I deselect that, we can't trust this P&L being negative because we are not accounting for all the credits. Now let's go high position and select all, and that gives me the resulting price. And then let's show him. Say, oh, there it is. Okay, so there it is. My gain since the opening of this trade is $920. We are right here at the middle of the trade, 170. Okay, great. The strike price is 175. Okay, so I'm going to leave that alone. That looks great, right? That's all accounted for. Okay, let's go back. We can save this if Excel spreadsheet 5, save as, in case you need to go back for some reason, and save it as an Excel spreadsheet and save. We can delete that now. We don't need it anymore. Okay. All right, that was Disney. Now we have Facebook. Let's go to the monitor tab. Ooh, very complex. We don't need anything from the previous trade, only this trade at 295, okay? And we're gonna do the same thing because there's too much information. I only need to change the date, okay? The date where I entered this trade, that's another trade on Facebook. Obviously, I traded it before on that year, but since the current trade is what I care about, let's say enter back from the date in which we entered, which was 11, that's November the 5th, till today. And then that shows me only this portion. And we're going to do exactly the same thing we did for Disney, okay? Because it's hard to account for all of that. Okay, so let's go export to file. Make sure it's in HTML and save it as. Don't need all this naming here. Save it at FB for Facebook. Great. Saved. Now we go to Excel, create a new Excel spreadsheet, import. Facebook HTML, great. Open. And then again, we're going to search for what? Trade history. So we can copy that, and it's essentially what I just showed you on the trade tab, on the monitor tab, on the trading platform. Let's copy that, Command C in this case, and then paste, Command P. Okay, let's view it to zoom to selection, and we have here a put at 245. That's the outlier, isn't it? Okay, so We need to get it out of there. Command X. Why? Because I can't manipulate a five-legged trade. So we need, as you can see here, I already did that. Okay, show all. 1265, that's the 45 put. And then we have four legs for the other side, for the 295. Okay, let's proceed. Let me just show you how to do that one again, just for to make sure that we all understand. This is equal the price times the quantity times 100. That's a big credit because the stock was way down there towards 245, and essentially I just sold the 295 and so bought a put at a lower price. That's a way of taking profit and still remain bearish, or at least neutral. Okay, and that's a 0. We can delete this. We don't need that. And then we add them all up, and that's my resulting price, minus 78. It's actually a credit, okay, but that's okay. We can manage that, and you see you have minus 78. I had already done this today, and you need to change the number of calls and puts according to what you have here, and that's your resulting trade. Okay, let me show you then the comparison here. Let's hide the simulated trades first. Select everything else. The platform is a little slow and it's doing this. I'm not sure what I'm doing. And so it looks like, oh, I'm losing $4,821 since the opening. Well, because that's not accounting for all the credits that I have gotten already. So we need to hide this and show the simulation, hide the position that will show my simulation. And here is the actual profit and loss is only 177. And Facebook is sort of rallying up a little bit. Hopefully we'll get to this and then we'll get out of it, or I don't know exactly. That's a case for another day, okay? All right, so that's already all adjusted. That's my adjusted trade, and that tells you how much money I've lost or gained with accuracy. You can go to the monitor tab here and it will show you here the P&L. Okay, let's move on to the next one. We can save this if you want to as an Excel spreadsheet. All right, and then we can delete that and move on to the next trade, which is Logitech. Again, we enter L-O-G-I. Okay, this is, we need to go further back because I only have red, that means credits, and there's a whole lot of credits here. So let's go, let's say 110, 115, sounds good. Okay, here we go. All right, here again is a lot to account for, so I just assume do it in an Excel spreadsheet. But you can see here that we have this 105 at 650. Okay, let's move on. Let's do them all here. Export to HTML, and we're gonna call it LOGI by the name of the stock. Save it. Obviously, I did it already, so we're going to do it again, okay? Just to show you. Open recent, open, Logi, HTML. Open that. Same thing. Enter searches. Search for what? Trade history. That's right. You got it right. All right. So here it is. We copy. Copy. Click the plus sign so we have fresh news. Fresh new spreadsheet. And now we're going to say this view. Here, view. Zoom in selection. Okay, and in this case, we have this 195 call. Let's get it out of the way. Delete that, or take it out of the way. And again, we do the same thing. Multiply what? The price times the quantity times 100. Then go down, copy and paste essentially, and then that gives us the total price. Here in the home, I go auto sum. Auto sum, that gives me 20, well, let's put it over here to the side so we can see it. 2240. Okay. I'm going to use this as a template to copy that. I already have it really, so let me just show you how I did it. Okay, so that is easy. Just copy the original trade, analyze trade, and then adjust based on what you have here. Okay, so 8 puts long, 5 calls long, and then 4 and 4 are my shorts. 4 and 4, and then we have this 105 called at 650, so that's over here, that's already taken care of. And we need to change the expiration for the shorts. Forgot that. February 19th. Okay, what is the minimum common divisor here? 1. 4 can only divide 5. 8 can be divided by 4, but 5 cannot. So February, I'm sorry, I mixed up. March is my longs. And my shorts are Feb. Okay, 26 is the debit. If I were to, yeah, 2608 was the original price. Now it's 2240. When you account for all of that, the common divisor is 1, so it's 100. You divide that. 22 divided by 10. 2240 is 22.4. Surprise, surprise. 22.440. And that's my resulting price, okay? Which is what I already had. Okay, so we can delete that. Hide simulation. And again, it looks like I'm losing money, but I'm not accounting for everything. So I need to hide the position. And oh, I actually have a profit of $549.98. Great. I can save that. Let me just put it away. Okay, I'll come back to that. Let's finish this with my Qualcomm trade. Qualcomm. Obviously, I already did that. Let's go through the process here. Lots and lots of trades here. There is 165. I have 2 of them. See that? I did 2 rollovers, roll-ups. And they were done just minutes apart. No, 1 week apart. Okay, so let's do the same thing. Export that, export to file, web, page, enter the ticket symbol, Qualcomm, save it. I don't know if I need to do this again, but in this case, just remember that we have two of them. Let's go to the Analyze tab, and you can see two. Actually, here it will show me the average price because there were two different prices. That's the average price. So in this case, 955, 880 divided. So I'm them all up, divided by 2, and that gives me 19175. Then I do the same, all the accounting, all the trades will be accounted for. 3930 times 200 minus 529 times 200 minus 782 times 200, and so on. And so you can do the exact same thing, okay, in the Excel spreadsheet. Okay, let's do it just for practice. Okay, open, and we're going to open Qualcomm. Search for trade history. And here it is. Let's copy that. Copy, take a new Excel spreadsheet, and let's view this. Zoom to. Now we can open it, and we're going to remove the 65 calls. That's already accounted for, so let's move it down. To do that, just select the line and say Command X and Command V, paste, and we can always do the accounting here. How about that? Well, that number plus this number and divide that by 2. And that's the 9175. Easy. Okay, then here we have what? Price times quantity times 100. And then copy that to all the lines, then add them all up. And that's the 963 is the total cost when you account for all debits and all credits. Okay, let's go to the Analyze tab. And here it is. In this case, the minimum common divisor is 2. So our number in that Excel spreadsheet is going to be the 960. So equals 963 divided by 200, and that's the unit price. Copy that. And here it is, 4815. So once again, if I deselect that, does the P&L looks like I have a big loss. Well, that's not appropriate because it doesn't account for all the credits. So let's hide the position and click on all to show the simulations, all the details of the simulation, and that should give me the price here. So instead of a big loss, I have a big win. Okay, look at the negative delta here. Let's take a look at the chart. I'm still bearish on it. It needs to get into the Ichimoku cloud, and the stock is due to report earnings, and it's on the 5th. Here, March. Let's take a look at the chart here. And here you can say over the earnings and then decide whether you want to roll it over or not. Okay, that's it. Now, one last thing. Go to the Analyze tab And you can say here, let's see, I know, I need to do is, instead of entering, you see that? Instead of Qualcomm, delete that. And then now you have all the trades that, you know, you can go and delete those two who are not current, and then you can export them. Yeah, export to file, and then you would export. Oh, maybe it's here. No, over here. Oh, here it is. Okay, export all trades. And then you can, and export all simulated trades. And I can always come back to that. Okay, but you can see that it's not only the trades that all trades that I have done in the past. For those, you can just delete. Okay, TXN, I'm not interested, and etc. You know what to do. You delete them all, and then you would end up only with the active ones. Okay, so I'm closing here. Tomorrow I will do the updating of the trades that I didn't do today because I wanted to do this accounting first, this accounting video. So thank you very much for joining me, and come back to it if you need to. Remind yourself this is a tutorial, so you can watch it as many times as you want. Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Please be sure to subscribe to this channel by clicking on the subscribe button below. Once you have done that, be sure to also click on the bell so you get a notification of future videos coming up in this channel. Be sure also to click like if you enjoyed this video, and feel free to share it with your friends and family. Thank you very much.